Okay, let's start. I have been wanting to do this for a long time, but I've been procrastinating on it for too long. This is the first of many series of me trying to record what it is like to build Scout and my opinions in general. Uh, Up until now, there has only been one way through which I project my thinking, which is either writing on Twitter or just writing a blog. But that is very much time taking, and I think talking on a camera is just easier, and I can like get stuff out of my mind, and it is a good time machine. Like it's a good thing for me to look back and how it were in these early days. So yeah, that is it. I very new to this, so please forgive me for the camera quality, future Aman. I am doing this on Mac photo booth, but yeah, you get the point. Now, what is Scout and what I'm trying to solve with Scout? So I'll start very simply and I'll not try to digress and like go in random directions. So earlier, a little bit of context on what Scout started as. Scout started as this idea of an onboarding flow builder, which is the whole thesis was that people will have their own set of Play Store applications, and at some point, storytelling will become very important. And I've done this personal experiment where I've tracked my own content consumption for the last 3, 4 years, and I tried making my own personal application. So this thesis was very strong, and it's still going strong. People are building custom applications for themselves, and people are hiring video editors, storytellers, narrative setters. So it's I'm seeing this thesis in play. Now, what I started as, which is like the onboarding form builder, and why onboarding in very particular is because I love product side of engineering in general, and that was my experience when I was working with Commenda. And I love building products for user and in general translating real world processes into the digital realm. So and onboarding, and I also love talking to people and like talking to customers in general, and I did that at Commenda also. So I thought that onboarding is the perfect impact area for me according to my skill sets, because I love talking and I love product, and onboarding is your first doorway through to the product, to any product. In fact, the first thing that the user sees is onboarding. And if your onboarding is good, the user remembers it. And there's one more thesis behind it. And that thesis, I keep using the word thesis, but there's one more reason for this is attention. With AI creating content and with like the population of people on the internet increasing and creating content becoming easier, it is very difficult to get users' attention now. And I think at some point people will have like similar products, and the differentiating factor between these products will not be features, will just be what you call the storytelling and how good their experience was, and how does it make you feel as a user in general. And that is why I started with onboarding flow builder. Uh, Onboarding Flow Builder was a very heavy engineering project, and it was taking me a lot of time. I was doing this, I think, 7, 8 months back, and there were AI tools with me. So like it would have not taken that much time, and the whole idea was to reimagine every component that helps in onboarding uh, in an AI native way. One classical example of this would have been forms. You like traditionally forms, you'd fill out forms just by like typing on a keyboard. Now you can either chat with an agent or just talk to a virtual avatar and just fill out the form and like give the information over the call, like give the information over call. So that was the whole idea, and I started pursuing that. But there are a lot of players doing workflow building and like workflow editors in this space. And I don't remember this company. There was this company called Moxo. I think Moxo was also doing that. So and I have no strong operator background in general, and I don't have like a huge signal of companies behind me that I'd go to customers and like it becomes very easy for me for them to use me in general. And I started seeing the rise of more and more service-based companies, AI native service-based companies building internal workflows and internal toolings. So I thought, let's not pick it up now. Let's reduce the product surface area and let's try to attack with a surface area that makes my go-to market easier, because building this was also a huge thing, a huge commitment. So I thought that eventually I'll land up to it, but let's not build it now. I don't know whether that was true or not. In hindsight, now when I think about the decision, I still don't know. Uh, I still think there's a great space for onboarding flow builders, but I'm not very committed to it, and in general right now not pursuing that idea. I started with this very simple onboarding adjacent idea where AI agents would join Google Meet and Zoom calls, and they would share the screen and they would demo the product live. Now, that was something I think was a smaller product area, product surface, and very onboarding adjacent because it eventually would map into a workflow component that I had built. Right. So I thought let's build this. It will take less time to build, and let's go to market with this. Now, what I have validated with that idea is people don't want to send agents on the very first call with the customer. There are primarily two reasons for why people don't want to do that. One is human relationships. Right now, human relationship is becoming very important. As I said, in the future, features or like in general product quality also I think will not uh, retain customers. I think it's your relationship with your customer that will be a differentiating factor. And second aspect was just scaling the personal human attention, like the personal human touch point, which like the whole idea behind this was like what the human relationship and like which is like people just want to like talk to humans and like I think the demand for humans is rising. Like it's very counterintuitive and contrarian, but I think the demand for humans is on a rise again. The second thing was with high ticket customers and with high ticket customers, people their usual response would be to just like go on a call, close the client, and then tell your engineering team to build that feature, even if it does not exist. So the first call is more of a requirement analysis, and people are very resistant towards like AI agents just joining the call and you being no shows. So I've kind of validated that like the better or the best use case for a thing like this is when you have like a scaled company or when you have like your pre-sales handled by people, and like best use case, there are two use cases that I found for this, which is dynamic product docs, which is in general, like product documentation is very static now. And now with AI, we can make it four-dimensional. Four-dimensional in a way where like the agent can like come on a call and explain you, hey, how's the incorporation process? What does it work? Like what documents do you need? How does it work? And in general, it is more dynamic. The second use case for this is repetitive calls, right? Your account executives now probably can take on high ticket lines and like more important calls, and this can be left to customers which ask very stupid and very repetitive questions in general. So this can scale in that way. But yeah, I kind of validated that like people would never want to use this in onboarding, almost never. It's uh, very unanimous between all people that I asked. So this is what the current problem Scout is solving. Scout is solving for understanding. Now, let me explain what I mean by understanding. There are three pillars to understanding, right? Now, and this eventually is a part of what I'm building, but this is the whole idea behind what Scout is and what Scout is doing. So, um, right now, as I mentioned, and I'll mention it again, your relationship with your customer matters a lot. And you have to have a very clear understanding of what your customer needs in general to build for that understanding and to support like to build for that like use case or like to support your customer, right? So, and I've been talking to a lot of CSMs and they have been complaining about like how at every with AI at every function of your org, there are like some certain sets of specific tools, but there is no one person acting as a glue and stitching it together and like just like making it very clear for the company and like for different functions to okay, this is what the customer needs and this is how we need to collaborate in general. And I think I was reading it somewhere that uh, a role of founder in some ways is to just like go desk by desk and ask each people, hey, what are you blocked on? And then like unblock them. So at like in most successful scaled companies, uh, usually the founder acts as that glue and like unblocks people. But this is a problem in general that people are facing. So understanding, when I say Scout is solving for understanding, what do I mean by that? I mean like the whole goal is for Scout now is to be the interaction layer, like is not to, actually not to be the interaction layer, but sit between you and your interaction with the customer, and just like capturing all that context and like just like streamlining that and giving it to you in a very simple terms. uh Now, how does my idea of like product demos and onboarding play into that? I'll come to that. But basically, the whole idea is that Scout, you can embed Scout in your day-to-day interactions with customers, whether it's support tickets, whether it's onboarding calls, whether it's pre-sales calls. You can take a silent note taker, and if you don't want to take a Scout note taker, you can take Gemini note taker. I think most people would now use Gemini because it's the easiest, or you can take a Granola note taker, and you can just like come to the Scout platform and like give the Scout platform the context. But the whole idea is Scout will now try to embed in the conversations between you and your customer, and act as the whole brain for your entire company, and like give your entire company the context for what the customer needs. So the whole this is the first pillar, which is like just helping you and like helping the company have a better understanding of what their customers need in general. Uh, the second pillar is kind of like this high agency, low agency thing, where Scout, you can take Scout on meetings and like on repetitive calls, and product, like in general, make static product docs more dynamic. And in general, Scout would take the agency over the call, and Scout would present and Scout would demo if you want that use case, right? But like in general, Scout taking in charge of in creating the interaction. Like the first part was just capturing the interaction in general, and like streamlining that content. The second part comes, which is like creating interaction, which is like sending, like earlier you had NPS ratings, right? Where you'd ask your customer through a dialog box, hey, how was your experience? Like rated out of 1 to 10, right? Now you can like just uh, send a Scout link to a customer, and it be a real call with an agent asking the customer, hey, how was your experience? And people are not resistant towards this as an idea, which is like if an actual person is not coming to ask them like how was your experience, it like they'll not be offended by it, right? uh, so this Scout creating like scaling human touch point, which is just um, what I call like just creating more and more interactions and more touch points with your customer, which is like if you don't have time to like just what you call uh, do like make your product a very high human touch point product. Scout can You can just send Scout follow-up links at regular frequencies that with Scout would like reach out to customers, and like in dashboard experiences where Scout let it feel that uh, someone from the team, which is actually a human being, is also attending to them, but like an AI agent, which also like kind of mimics a human being, is also attending. It makes the experience very personalized. And I'm still trying to figure out ways on how to like just like avenues or areas where like just like I'd make this interaction more personal. The third pillar is scaling. Now you have the understanding and of the context and like of the interaction. Now you're creating interaction, which is like a circular loop. The third is scaling human relationships. With Scout, it becomes very easier to remember, like let's say your customer's dog's name, wife's name, person's birthday, and in general, like they visited on your website, or like they booked a call with you on like 3 weeks back for like a severe production issue. Human memory is very limited, and as I said, as I mentioned, that attention span is like just getting shorter and shorter. So it's just the whole idea is that like Scout acts as an accelerator to your human relationships for like CSMs, and it just scales those human relationships. And the form factors can be like Scout messaging your like or Scout not messaging, or Scout messaging calling or whatever. I've not like explored. I've not had like full clarity on what this will be, but the whole thesis is like just Scout acting as concierge, or like as your like personal assistant to scale human relationship, which is like if your customer if today is your customer's birthday, Scout can like maybe send a gift. And if someone from your family is sick, Scout can like just like say, hey, I your like dog is sick, and like you were mentioning that your dog, like you did this treatment with your dog, and like how, like in general, how is your dog right now? Is the treatment working or not? And the reason Scout can do this is because Scout would eventually try to embed in like all the conversations that you have with your customer. And what I've noticed is calls with human beings are like not always very straightforward and linear. They're very non-linear in a way where people like to talk, and like people like to talk about themselves, right? So people like the initial response would be to talk about your wife, talk about your family, talk about your dog, or whatever. But this is a very common pattern. So uh, I'm very sure that like, and I'm very certain, and this is from what I have noticed by taking like more and more calls in like last 2 to 3 weeks, that people do talk about themselves and their personal experiences. Now, Scout would capture that and use that at a later point in the company's journey. Now, that is scaling human relationship and would eventually, as the thesis goes, result in like retention, more retention, and more understanding. So these are the three pillars that Scout is solving for right now. Now, um, earlier, I my impact area was like onboarding and areas around onboarding in general, which is pre-sales and post-sales. Um, Onboarding right now is a very subsection, I think, of Scout, and I still think like onboarding is a great avenue, and I'm still um like doubling down on onboarding as a niche. But like the way Scout would solve for onboarding is it just be on onboarding calls as a silent participant, and in general, from whatever context it has captured with customers, it would like just bucket customers into different clusters based on the problems they have seen or based on the patterns. And the whole idea is eventually like it would give you insights on how to improve that onboarding, or insights on how to like insights to CSM or like any other person to how to improve that onboarding. So yeah, in a nutshell, this is what Scout is. I just looked at camera. It's 17 minutes. This is my first time doing this. And I have to get better at like articulating this, but like this is a note for future, man. But this is what I am essentially solving for, and this is the current mold and shape of Scout. Uh, as of today, I don't know what it will be in the future, but I I have been getting like new insights every day as I build more and more momentum about people and about company building in general. And the way to like there has been a very particular way, like there has been a like way from which I get clarity, and that was writing blogs. And right now in my life, I'm like not getting enough time to like write long form blogs. I have like drafts, but I think this is a good way to like just speak it out in front of the camera and get clarity in like these ways, and just come back to it later. So yeah, this was my first video on building Scout and what Scout does. Um, and this is also a note to future Raman that the camera quality is absolutely, absolutely horrible. I'll try out some AI videos to like just smoothen this out, AI video tools to smoothen this out. But I hope to get better eventually. Yeah, bye.